Hey guys, before I start this video, I need to make a statement because it's a recurring question that comes up in these types of videos for me. And the statement is this. This will only work on Chromebooks that have an Intel processor. If you don't have an Intel processor, this won't work for you. Okay, so with the disclaimer out of the way, what I want to do today is just create kind of a, I don't want to say a generic video, but it kind of is about how to unlock the BIOS in your Chromebook so that you can install basically any desktop operating system that you want. And I say basically because this is going to apply primarily to different versions of Linux and Windows. I know that there are people out there working on making this work with like Mac OS and things like that, but this video does not cover any of the Mac OS stuff. This is just going to be unlocking your BIOS for Windows and Linux. And basically you'll be able to, or should be able to, install any of those operating systems as long as your Chromebook meets the hardware requirements for like hard drive space and RAM and CPU speed, things like that. So this is actually a pretty simple process. Again, I'm going to reiterate this. In case you somehow skipped the disclaimer at the beginning, this will only work on Intel-based Chromebooks. So let's go ahead and switch camera angles. We'll jump over and take a look at this on my Chromebook, and then we'll come back and wrap things up. Okay, so the first thing you need to do here before we can really do anything else at this point is you're going to have to take off the bottom of your Chromebook. And there's going to be a bunch of screws down here, of course, along the edges like you would expect. And then in this case, on the C720, there are two more here in the middle that you'll have to take off. And one of these has this sticker over it saying warranty is void if seal is broken. So by doing this, you are going to void your warranties. So just know that going into this. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not. I've already removed all of the screws. I've already been through this several times, and I'm in and out of here so much, I don't even bother putting the screws back on here. You can do that at your own discretion here. So and the next thing, of course, that we're going to have to do is actually remove the bottom of this. And really, it's not that difficult. You've just got to kind of get under here a little bit. You can find a spot and just peel it up like that. It just comes off. We'll set that aside for right now. We will need that. One thing I can say is while the bottom of this is off, it won't turn on. The Chromebook will not turn on when the bottom isn't in place. So that's just kind of a safety thing that they have done there. Now, the reason we have to take the bottom of this off is to remove the right Now, the reason we have to take this apart, take the bottom off and whatnot, is we've got to remove the right protection screw. And it's really easy to find if you know where you're looking or what to look for. In this case, again, this is on the Acer C720. Yours may be different, but here's where it is on this device. You'll have to do some research to figure out where it is on yours. All we've got to do here is actually just move this out of the way. And right here, there's a screw. And it's a big screw that's making contact with both sides of this soldered point here. And that's what's keeping the right protection in place for modifying the BIOS the way we need to modify it. So what we're going to do here is real simple. We're just going to take this screw out. Just like that. And like I said, it's just this one little screw here. We take that out and now we're good to go. So we'll set that aside someplace we won't lose it. We're going to go ahead and put that back in place. And then we'll go ahead and put the bottom back on. Like I mentioned before, I never put the screws back in just because I'm in and out of here so much. I'll make sure all that's clicked in and feels good. There we go. And then when we flip it over, it should we should be able to turn it back on. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how to put your Chromebook into developer mode, and it's actually really, really easy. The first thing, your Chromebook has to be off. You turn it off to start. Then we're going to press Escape, Reload, and we're going to press and hold those, and we're going to keep those held while we tap the power button, but we're going to keep holding these buttons down. And then it's going to come up, and it's going to give us this error here. And when we get this error, this is fine. We're going to press Ctrl D. Here it says to turn OS verification off, press Enter. That's what we want to do. Okay, so it says OS verification is off. That's fine. we can go ahead and just let this sit here for a minute while it thinks, or I believe we can press Ctrl D, and then it should go ahead and take us into our normal boot sequence. Oh, so now it's going to take us into this, and it's going to transition into developer mode. This will take a little while. Up at the top it says starting in 30 seconds, and it will. It doesn't give you a countdown or anything, but it says it's starting in 30 seconds. And then it's going to give once it gets to that point, then eventually we will get a progress bar up here that will explain what it's doing and give us kind of a percentage timeline as far as how much longer we're going to have to sit here and wait for it to do its thing. And here we go. Now we've got our timer saying we're at 5 seconds in. We're at 8%, an ETA of 1 minute, about a minute there. So we'll just go ahead and let this sit for another minute. And just like that, we're in developer mode now. It's going to bring up this screen saying OS verification is off. That's good. That's what we want. Here it's saying press space if you want to re-enable that. We don't. I'm going to just go ahead and press Ctrl D so we don't have to wait. And I apologize for that flicker. That sucks, but it should go away here in just a minute, hopefully. A little better. Okay, so here we are. Now it's going to ask us to do the normal thing of connecting to a wireless network here. We'll go ahead and do that as soon as it pops up. The one I'm looking for, there it is. Do that, and I'll type in. Go ahead and connect to that. Yeah, that's fine. I accept. None of this matters anyway. We're breaking all of their terms and conditions and everything by doing what we're about to do here. So none of that really matters. Okay, so on this screen, it's going to be asking us to log in to our Chromebook or sign in, however you want to word that, but it's going to ask us to sign in. And we don't need to do that for this part of what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we'll click on Browse as Guest. And then here in a second, it's going to pop up a screen saying you're browsing as guest. There you go. And so the next step is going to be we want to open up a cross screen. So we do Ctrl Alt T, and that's going to bring us here. And we're going to type in shell. If we hit enter, it's going to say error unknown command shell, and that's because we're not in developer mode. If you get this error right here where it says unknown command shell, it means you're not in developer mode, and you need to stop and back up and get yourself into developer mode. Okay, so this should look familiar. This is kind of where we started from originally, saying sign in. We're going to go ahead and browse as a guest. So go ahead and click that. And then again, we're going to do the same thing we did earlier. We're going to press Ctrl Alt T. It's going to bring up Crosh, and then we're going to type in shell. Cool. So that time it worked. If you get this far, you're doing good. So what we're going to do here is actually completely change our BIOS from being like a Chromebook BIOS to being something a little closer to like a laptop or a desktop, something like that, where we can actually basically install anything we want. And in order to do that, we're gonna type some kind of a long command in here. Oops, that's not at all what I meant to do. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here and I'm doing a crap job of it. So let me copy and paste that into a new window there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna type in cd space tilde. Tilde is shift, and this key up here on your Chromebook, it's going to be always in this position. Basically, any keyboard you get on, it's going to be up there somewhere. So it's going to be tilde, then semicolon, space, curl, minus capital L, space, minus capital C, right? No, sorry, capital O. What am I thinking? I'm going to do https :// coolstar.org/chromebook/setup-firmware.sh space ampersand space sudo bash setup-firmware.sh. So this curl command is telling the first part of this to download this shell file, this .sh file. And then we're saying also, once you're done with that, then go ahead and execute that file. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. Okay, so this is good. This is what we want to see here. And basically what we want to do is go ahead and install or update the full ROM firmware. That's what we want to do in this case. We're going to select 1. We're going to press enter. Saying, hey, this is a standard disclaimer. If you do this, you could break your device. You're going to avoid your warranty. You've been warned. Are you sure you want to continue? We're going to say yes. Do you want to create a backup of your stock firmware? I can't express how important this is to do. If you ever want to restore your Chromebook back to like manufacturer's settings or be able to restore Chrome OS, that kind of thing, the answer to this should be yes. You're going to want a USB stick that you can just dedicate to this and not worry about losing the ROM file that it's going to put on there. So we're going to say, yes, I want to do that. Now it says connect a USB device to store the firmware backup and press enter. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it into the side over here like so. I'm going to press, see now it's saying removable device detected. That's good. We're going to press enter. Saying, hey, it's on your Sony storage media. Do you want to use that one? Or it's going to say enter the number of the device you want to use. I'm going to say 1 because that's the only one I've got. I'm going to press enter. Now it's creating a backup and it's storing it to my USB drive. Saying remove the USB stick and press enter to continue. So I'm going to remove that and I'm going to press enter. So now it's going to go ahead and download the ROM that's specific to this device, this C720 from Acer. Then it's going to go ahead and install the full ROM firmware. Cool. So now that's done. Now it says press enter to return to the main menu. So now we've got some options. We can do some of this other stuff, but we're not going to. We're going to press R to reboot because that's what we want to do. So now it's going to take a second to think, but now we've got this whole other thing going on here. So this is completely new that we haven't seen on a Chromebook before. So at this point, you should be good to go. Your BIOS is unlocked, and now you should be able to just shut off your Chromebook, find a USB stick that's got the operating system you want to install, plug that in, and turn your Chromebook back on. If everything went well, a screen should pop up to start the install process of the operating system on the USB stick that you just inserted into your Chromebook. Just go through that install process, and before long, you should have your operating system running on your Chromebook. Okay guys, so there you have it. I mean, really it's a pretty simple process. I know there's a bit more involved in this because of having to maybe remove the write protect screw if your Chromebook has that, but either way, again, fairly simple process here and really unlocks the true potential of your Chromebook, allowing you to install things like Linux or Windows or things like that. And I have made videos about those, and I'll link to that playlist probably down below, just so you can go check out, you know, how to install Windows 10 or different versions of like Ubuntu or Kali or some of the others that I've made, or some of those other videos that I've made in the past. So if you're interested in seeing how to install those specifically, you may see some similarities here. So again, if you're interested in that, I'll link to that playlist down below. Definitely go check that out if you're interested. But I think that's going to wrap this up. If you found the video helpful, it would be amazing if you would do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with somebody else who might be interested in this as well. If you're interested in more content like this, of course, there is the subscribe button, and there'll be a bunch of different links in the description down below if you want to help support the channel in other ways. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. As always, thanks for your time. I always appreciate your support, and I'll talk to you in the next video.